Picture this, the world 20,000 years ago. A time before cities, before farms, before writing. A time when humanity lived in harmony with nature, not as its master, but as its child. Tonight, we journey back to witness a single day in the life of our ancestors. A day that began in darkness, guided by instinct, and ended by firelight, shaped by survival. Imagine yourself awakening in a shallow cave, carved into limestone cliffs by countless seasons of wind and rain. The first sensation isn't sight, but sound. The gentle crackling of embers from last night's fire, barely alive, but still breathing with faint orange light. Around you, the soft breathing of your clan, 10 souls huddled together for warmth, their bodies creating a cocoon of shared heat against the cold morning air. Your eyes open slowly, adjusting to the dim light filtering through the cave entrance. Dawn is breaking over the ancient landscape, painting the horizon in shades of amber and rose. The world outside is vast and untamed, covered in dense forests that stretch endlessly toward distant mountains. This is Earth before roads, before boundaries, before the human footprint had scarred its surface. This is wilderness in its purest form. You are not alone in this awakening. Your tribe begins to stir, each member responding to the same primal clock that has governed human life for millennia. There's Keth, the tracker, whose eyes can read stories in bent grass and disturbed leaves. There's Myra, the gatherer, whose fingers know which berries nourish and which ones kill. And there's Old Thane, the keeper of fire, whose weathered hands have never let the sacred flame die completely. Your body aches as you stretch. Every muscle tells the story of yesterday's hunt, of running through dense undergrowth, of carrying heavy stones for tool-making. Your hands are calloused and strong, your arms and legs thick with muscle earned through daily survival. This is not the soft flesh of modern comfort, but the hardened body of someone whose very existence depends on physical strength and endurance. You rise and step toward the cave entrance, feeling the rough stone beneath your bare feet. The ground is cold, dotted with sharp pebbles and patches of moss. Your skin prickles as the morning air touches it, and you wrap the hide cloak tighter around your shoulders. This garment, sewn with sinew and shaped with stone tools, represents countless hours of work. It came from a deer killed 3 moons ago, skinned with flint knives, scraped clean, and softened by patient rubbing with fat and ash. Looking out from your cave, the landscape unfolds like a living tapestry. Below, a river winds through the valley, its waters reflecting the morning light like scattered jewels. The banks are lined with willows and birches, their branches heavy with spring growth. In the distance, you can see smoke rising from other caves, other families beginning their day. Your people are scattered across this territory in small bands, connected by kinship and shared knowledge, but each group responsible for its own survival. The air carries scents that modern noses have forgotten. The green smell of growing things, the musky odor of wild animals, the clean scent of running water, unmarked by pollution. You breathe deeply, and your senses catalog everything. The direction of the wind, telling you which way sounds and scents will carry. The humidity, suggesting whether rain might come. The subtle changes in temperature that speak of the season's progression. Behind you, Thane is already at work, coaxing life back into the fire. His movements are practiced, economical. He adds dry grass to the embers, blows gently, watches for the first curl of smoke. Fire is life. Fire is warmth, protection, the ability to cook food and keep predators at bay. Without fire, your clan would not survive a single night in this wilderness. The flames begin to grow, casting dancing shadows on the cave walls. These walls tell stories of their own. Handprints made with ochre and charcoal mark the presence of your people. Simple drawings of animals, hunted and revered, decorate the stone. There's the mammoth from last winter's great hunt, its tusks captured in bold strokes. There's the horse herd that migrates through your territory each spring. These images are not mere decoration, but records, maps, prayers to the spirits of the animals your people depend upon. The cave paintings speak of a deeper relationship with the world than modern minds can easily grasp. Each image is placed with purpose, following lines and curves that already existed in the stone. Your people see the animals in the rock, waiting to be revealed. The painting is not creation, but revelation, bringing forth what was always there, connecting the visible world with the spirit world that flows beneath it. As the fire grows stronger, the cave fills with warmth and light. One by one, your clan members fully awaken. The children emerge from their sleeping furs, rubbing their eyes and moving instinctively toward the fire's warmth. The adults begin their morning rituals, checking the placement of weapons, examining the sky for weather signs, listening to the forest for any unusual sounds that might indicate danger or opportunity. There's no rush in these movements, no sense of artificial urgency. Time flows differently here, measured not by hours, but by the sun's position, by the body's needs, by the rhythms of the natural world. You have learned to move with these rhythms, to let them guide your actions rather than fighting against them. Mara approaches the fire, carrying a collection of roots she dug up yesterday evening. These are groundnuts, rich in starch, which she will roast in the coals until they're soft and sweet. The process is slow, meditative. She arranges the roots carefully, covering them with hot ash, then settles back to wait. Patience is perhaps the most important skill in this world. Everything worthwhile takes time. The art of food preparation in your world is complex and nuanced. Every plant has its season, its proper preparation, its place in the cycle of nutrition that keeps your people healthy. The groundnuts Myra roasts are one of dozens of plants she knows intimately. She can identify them by their leaves when they're barely emerging from the ground in spring, by their flowers in summer, by their dried stalks in winter, when the nutritious tubers lie hidden beneath the frozen earth. While the roots cook, Keth examines the tracks he found near the river yesterday. In the soft mud by the water's edge, he discovered the prints of a small deer herd. The tracks are fresh, no more than a day old, and they lead upstream toward the narrow valley where the animals often shelter during the heat of the day. His fingers trace the impressions, reading them like text. The size of the prints tells him how many animals. The depth suggests their weight and health. The spacing reveals whether they were walking calmly or fleeing from something. The language of tracks is as complex as any written script. Each animal leaves its signature in the earth, and experienced trackers can read stories spanning days or even weeks. That scuff mark shows where a deer stumbled, suggesting injury or exhaustion. The way the toes are spread indicates the animal was running when it passed this spot. The age of the tracks can be judged by their sharpness, their weathering, the way insects and small animals had disturbed them. You join the discussion, adding your own observations from yesterday's scouting. The berry bushes along the eastern ridge are heavy with fruit, almost ready for harvest. The fish in the deeper pools seem more active, suggesting good fishing in the coming days. A family of beavers has built a new dam upstream, which might change the water levels and affect where game comes to drink. This sharing of information is vital. Each member of the clan contributes their specialized knowledge, building a collective understanding of the territory and its resources. No single person could survive alone in this environment. Cooperation is not just beneficial, it's essential for life itself. The beaver dam Keth mentioned yesterday deserves careful consideration. Beavers are ecosystem engineers, and their work affects everything downstream. The new pond will attract waterfowl, providing hunting opportunities. But it may also flood the meadow where certain medicinal plants grow, forcing the clan to find new sources for important remedies. The fallen trees the beavers have cut will provide material for tools and shelter, but they've also created clearings that might attract browsing animals, changing the patterns of game movement through the territory. As the morning progresses, the work begins. Thane tends the fire, adding wood to maintain the perfect balance of heat and flame. Too small, and you'll lose this precious resource. Too large, and you'll consume fuel unnecessarily. His knowledge of fire comes from decades of experience, passed down from his elders and refined through countless days of practice. Fire management is an art form in your world. Different woods burn with different characteristics. Oak provides long-lasting coals perfect for cooking. Pine ignites quickly but burns hot and fast, good for starting fires or providing quick warmth. Birch bark catches fire even when damp, making it invaluable for emergency situations. The arrangement of wood matters too. The way logs are stacked determines how the fire breathes, how heat is distributed, how long the flames will last. The women and older children begin the daily gathering. They move through the forest with woven baskets, collecting the 100 small things that sustain life. Berries and nuts, medicinal herbs, materials for tool-making. Young shoots that can be eaten raw or cooked. Bark that can be woven into cordage. Everything in this environment has multiple uses, and nothing is wasted. Their knowledge is encyclopedic. They know which mushrooms nourish and which ones kill. They can identify edible plants by their leaves, their scent, even their location and the season. They understand which roots are best in spring, which berries ripen first, which nuts store longest. This knowledge represents thousands of years of accumulated wisdom, passed down through stories and songs and hands-on teaching. The gathering expedition this morning takes the women and children to the oak grove beyond the river. The trees are ancient here, their massive trunks scarred by lightning and carved by countless seasons. Acorns litter the ground beneath them, a treasure trove of nutrition that will help sustain the clan through the coming winter. But gathering acorns is more complex than simply picking them up. Each acorn must be examined for holes that indicate insect infestation. The caps must be removed, and the nuts checked for cracks or dark spots that suggest spoilage. Good acorns have a particular weight, a certain sound when shaken, a clean smell when broken open. The gatherers work with practiced efficiency, filling their baskets with only the best specimens, while leaving the rest for the squirrels and other forest creatures that also depend on this harvest. The processing of acorns is a lengthy procedure that will occupy much of the women's time over the coming weeks. The nuts must be shelled, ground into meal, then leached in baskets lined with pine needles to remove the bitter tannins that make them inedible in their natural state. The process takes days, but the result is a nutritious flour that can be made into cakes, thickened into porridge, or stored for months without spoiling. Meanwhile, the men prepare for the hunt. They check their weapons, sharpening spear points with carefully knapped flint, testing the tension in their bowstrings. Each tool is precious, representing hours of careful work. A well-made spear point might take a full day to create, chipping away tiny flakes of stone until the edge is sharp enough to cut through hide and flesh. The art of flint knapping is both science and intuition. The knapper must understand the stone's grain, its natural fracture lines, its hardness and brillness. Each strike of the hammer stone must be precisely placed and carefully controlled. Too hard, and the point shatters. Too soft, and nothing happens. The rhythm of stone on stone creates a percussion that echoes through the valley, a sound that speaks of human intelligence applied to the challenges of survival. You watch the hunter named Jorik work on a new arrowhead. His movements are deliberate, meditative. He holds the flint carefully, studying its surface, feeling for the natural lines of weakness. When he strikes, it's with complete confidence. A sharp chip flies away, leaving a clean edge. Another strike, another chip. Slowly, the stone takes shape, becoming a lethal point that will bring down prey and feed the clan. The selection of the proper stone is crucial to the knapper's success. Not all flint is suitable for tool-making. The best specimens have a fine, even grain and break with glass-like sharpness. They ring with a clear tone when struck, indicating internal consistency. The color varies from dark gray to honey brown, but appearance matters less than the stone's ability to hold a keen edge. Experienced knappers can judge a piece of flint by its feel in the hand, the way it responds to the first test strikes. Jorik's tools are simple but effective. The hammerstone fits comfortably in his palm, worn smooth by countless hours of use. For detailed work, he uses antler tine to pressure flake tiny chips from the growing point. His fingers are scarred from years of working with razor-sharp stone, but his hands are steady and sure. Each movement serves a purpose, bringing the tool closer to its final deadly form. The morning air is warming now, and the forest is fully awake. Birds call from the canopy, their voices creating a complex symphony of territorial claims and mating songs. Squirrels chatter from the oak trees, gathering nuts for their winter stores. In the distance, you can hear the crack of branches as larger animals move through the underbrush. Every sound tells a story. The sharp bark of a fox might indicate that it's found prey or been startled by a predator. The crash of a large animal through brush could mean a deer fleeing danger or a bear marking territory. Your ears have learned to sort these sounds, to distinguish between normal forest activity and signs that might affect your day's plans. A sudden silence falling over the bird songs might indicate a hawk circling overhead, causing the smaller birds to freeze in place. The rhythmic drumming of a woodpecker tells you that the trees in that area are infested with insects, information that might be useful for finding materials or understanding the forest's health. Even the rustle of leaves can convey meaning. Wind moves through different types of foliage in distinctive ways, creating sounds that tell you about weather patterns, seasonal changes, the moisture content of the forest. Keth signals that it's time for the hunt. The tracking party has been watching the deer trails since before dawn, and the animals are moving in predictable patterns. The plan is simple but requires perfect coordination. 3 hunters will position themselves along the likely escape routes, while 2 others approach the deer from downwind, moving slowly and quietly until they're within range. You join the hunting party, feeling the familiar excitement build in your chest. Hunting is dangerous, requiring complete focus and perfect timing. One mistake could mean a lost opportunity, or worse, injury from a panicked animal. But it's also the activity that most fully engages every skill you've developed. Your ability to read tracks, to move silently, to judge distances and wind direction, all come together in these moments. The hunters move through the forest like shadows. Your feet find the soft spots between twigs. Your body flows around obstacles without disturbing leaves or branches. You've learned to become part of the landscape, to move with the forest's own rhythm rather than imposing your human urgency upon it. This ability to move silently through the wilderness is developed over years of practice. You've learned which plants bend quietly under pressure and which ones crackle at the slightest touch. You know where to place your feet to avoid snapping hidden twigs, how to part branches without causing them to spring back noisily. Your clothing is chosen for stealth as well as warmth, made from soft leather that doesn't rustle, colored with earth tones that blend with the forest shadows. The approach to the deer requires reading the land like a map. You must use every fold in the terrain, every stand of trees, every boulder and thicket to mask your advance. The wind is your enemy if it carries your scent ahead, your friend if it brings the sound and smell of the prey to you. You move when the wind stirs the leaves, freeze when it dies to stillness. Your breathing must be controlled, your heartbeat slowed through sheer force of will. The deer are exactly where Keth predicted, a small group of 5 animals grazing in a meadow beside the stream. They're relaxed, tails flicking occasionally at flies, ears rotating to catch any suspicious sounds. The wind is perfect, carrying your scent away from them. But deer are nervous creatures, always ready to bolt at the first sign of danger. The scene before you is one of perfect tranquility. The deer move with fluid grace, their coats gleaming in the morning sunlight. The largest buck lifts his head periodically, scanning for threats, his antlers a magnificent crown of bone that speaks to his maturity and strength. The does graze peacefully, occasionally nudging their fawns to keep them close. This is nature in balance, predator and prey, locked in the ancient dance that has shaped both species over countless generations. The approach takes nearly an hour. You move in increments, freezing whenever one of the animals lifts its head, advancing only when they return to feeding. Your muscles cramp from holding awkward positions, but you ignore the discomfort. This is the price of patience, and patience is what separates successful hunters from hungry ones. Every few minutes, you check the wind direction by dropping a handful of dry grass and watching which way it drifts. The slightest change in air currents could carry your scent to the deer, ending the hunt before it begins. You're acutely aware of every small sound you make, every movement that might catch the corner of the deer's eye. Your world has narrowed to this single focus, this perfect concentration on the task at hand. When you're finally in position, the attack happens quickly. Jorik's spear flies first, a perfect throw that takes the largest buck through the chest. The animal leaps once, then collapses. The rest of the herd explodes into motion, but they run directly into the trap. 2 more spears find their marks before the remaining deer disappear into the forest. The successful hunt brings a surge of emotion that's hard to describe to modern sensibilities. It's not joy in causing death, but profound gratitude for life sustained. These animals will feed your clan for days. Their hides will become clothing and shelter. Their bones will become tools. Nothing will be wasted, and their sacrifice will be honored in every use. The moment of the kill is sacred in ways that go beyond simple survival. You understand that you've taken life to sustain life, participated in the great cycle that governs all existence. The deer that died will become part of your clan, their strength added to yours, their flesh transformed into the energy that will carry you through the challenges ahead. This is not murder but communion, not destruction but transformation. The work of field dressing the deer begins immediately. This is skilled labor, requiring precise cuts to preserve the meat and hide. The hunters work with stone knives, their movements practiced and efficient. The internal organs are removed first, some to be eaten immediately, others to be processed later. The liver, rich in nutrients, is shared among the hunting party, eaten raw and warm. Blood is collected in leather pouches, precious for making blood sausage and for tanning hides. The stomach and intestines will be cleaned and used as containers or cordage. Even the antlers and hooves have value, destined to become tools and ornaments. In this world of scarcity, every part of the animal serves a purpose. The field dressing must be done quickly and correctly. Any mistake that punctures the intestines or allows bacteria to contaminate the meat could spoil the entire harvest. The hunter's knives are sharp as razors, honed to perfect edges that slice through hide and flesh with minimal effort. They work with calm efficiency, their movements economical and sure. This is butchery as an art form, the application of deep anatomical knowledge to the task of transforming a whole animal into usable parts. The return to camp is triumphant but exhausting. The deer are heavy, requiring the strength of all the hunters to carry them back to the caves. The journey takes several hours, following game trails and avoiding steep slopes. Your shoulders ache under the weight, but the knowledge of meat for many meals makes the burden lighter. The route home takes you through different terrain than the morning's hunt. You follow ridgelines when possible, avoiding the dense valley bottoms where carrying heavy loads would be more difficult. Rest stops are frequent, but brief, just long enough to shift the weight and ease cramped muscles. The hunters take turns carrying the heaviest portions, sharing the burden according to strength and endurance. Along the way, the sharp eyes of the hunting party continue to observe and catalog information about the territory. Fresh wolf tracks crossing the trail suggest the pack has moved into a new area. Scratches on a tree trunk indicate that a bear has been marking its territory. Disturbed earth near a stream shows where wild pigs have been rooting for tubers. All this information will be shared with the clan, added to the collective knowledge that helps ensure everyone's survival. Back at the camp, the successful hunt is greeted with celebration. The clan gathers around as the deer are laid near the fire, admiring the hunter's skill and giving thanks for the abundance. Old Thane performs a brief ritual, speaking words to honor the spirits of the slain animals, asking their forgiveness and promising that their sacrifice will not be forgotten. The ritual words are ancient, passed down through generations of hunters. They acknowledge the relationship between predator and prey, the debt that must be paid for taking life. Thane speaks to the deer's spirits, explaining the clan's need, promising that the animals will be honored through complete use of their bodies. The antlers will be carved into tools that will serve for years. The bones will be shaped into needles and awls. Even the hooves will be boiled to extract glue. The women take over the processing, their skills as important as the hunters. The hides must be skinned carefully to avoid cuts that would weaken the leather. The meat must be divided according to clan rules, ensuring that everyone receives their proper share. Some will be eaten fresh, but most must be preserved for future needs. The skinning process requires different tools and techniques than field dressing. The women use smaller, more precise knives to separate the hide from the flesh without puncturing the skin. They work from the inside, peeling the hide away in one piece when possible. Any holes or cuts in the skin will weaken the eventual leather, making it less useful for clothing or shelter. Long strips of meat are cut for drying, hung on wooden racks near the fire where smoke and heat will slowly cure them. This jerky will remain edible for months, providing protein during the lean times that inevitably come. Other pieces are set aside for immediate cooking, speared on green sticks and roasted over the coals. The drying racks are positioned to take advantage of both heat and air circulation. Too close to the fire, and the meat cooks rather than dries. Too far away, and it spoils before the moisture evaporates. The women tend the drying meat carefully, turning the strips regularly, adjusting their distance from the flames, brushing away insects that might lay eggs in the flesh. As the meat cooks, filling the cave with rich aromas, the rest of the day's gathering is shared. Myra's baskets are full of spring greens, tender shoots that add variety to the clan's diet. The children have found birds' eggs, a special delicacy that's eaten immediately. Someone has discovered a bee's nest, bringing back honeycomb that provides rare sweetness. The variety of foods available in spring creates a feast compared to the lean times of late winter. The young leaves of many plants are at their most nutritious now, before they become tough and bitter with age. Wild onions add flavor to cooked meat. Tender fern shoots, called fiddleheads for their curled appearance, provide vitamins that prevent scurvy. The forest offers abundance to those who know where to look and when to harvest. The meal that follows is a feast by your standards. Fresh roasted deer, sweet roots baked in the coals, crisp greens, and the luxury of honey. Everyone eats until they're satisfied, knowing that such abundance might not come again for days or weeks. Your body stores the energy, building reserves for the harder times that are always coming. The feast serves social purposes as well as nutritional ones. The sharing of food reinforces clan bonds, demonstrates the hunter's success, and provides opportunity for the elders to tell stories and pass on knowledge. Children learn by watching and listening, absorbing the complex web of relationships that govern clan life. The successful hunters gain status and respect, but they also accept the responsibility that comes with being able to provide for the group. But even during this celebration, work continues. The elders work on tools, shaping handles for new spears, weaving baskets from willow strips. The children play games that teach important skills, practicing with miniature bows, learning to identify plants and animals, developing the coordination and knowledge they'll need as adults. The tool making continues throughout the day, a constant background activity that ensures the clan's equipment remains in good repair. Spear shafts must be perfectly straight and properly balanced. Arrowheads need to be hafted securely to their shafts. Knives require new handles when the old ones wear out. Every tool receives regular maintenance, and worn implements are replaced before they fail at a critical moment. As afternoon fades toward evening, the tempo of activity slows. The immediate needs of food and shelter have been met, at least for today. This is time for the activities that make humans more than mere survivors. Someone brings out a bone flute, and music fills the cave. The melodies are simple but haunting, carried on the wind to other camps, connecting your people across the distances. The music serves multiple purposes in your world. It provides entertainment during the long hours when physical work is done. It helps preserve cultural knowledge with different melodies associated with particular stories or ceremonies. And it communicates across distances, letting other bands know that all is well, that the clan is prosperous and at peace. Stories begin, told in the flickering firelight. Tales of great hunts, of winters survived, of heroes and spirits, and the eternal struggle between humans and the wild world. These stories serve multiple purposes. They preserve important knowledge, passing down survival techniques and territorial information. They teach moral lessons, showing the consequences of selfishness or cowardice. And they bind the clan together, creating shared meaning and identity. The storyteller tonight is old Vera, her voice cracked with age, but still powerful. She tells of the great winter, 20 seasons past, when the snow fell for months and the rivers froze solid. How the clan survived by following the reindeer north, eating bark and roots when game was scarce, keeping the fire alive through storms that lasted for days. Her words paint pictures in the listeners' minds, making the past real and immediate. Vera's story contains practical information disguised as entertainment. The techniques for finding food during severe weather, the signs that predict when a storm will break, the methods for keeping fires alive in howling wind, all these details are woven into the narrative. Children absorb these lessons without realizing they're being educated, their minds storing information that might save their lives years in the future. Children listen wide-eyed, absorbing lessons that might save their lives someday. Adults nod at familiar details, remembering their own experiences or stories their elders told them. This oral tradition is your people's library, carrying forward the accumulated wisdom of generations. Without writing, memory becomes sacred. The storytellers are the keepers of your culture's soul. The stories change slightly with each telling, adapting to circumstances, incorporating new experiences, staying alive and relevant to each generation. A tale of a successful hunt might be embellished with details from recent expeditions. A story about surviving harsh weather might include techniques discovered by someone still living in the clan. This flexibility keeps the oral tradition current and useful rather than merely historical. As full darkness falls, the activities wind down. The fire is banked for the night, covered with ash to preserve the coals until morning. Weapons are checked one final time and placed within easy reach. Children are gathered close to their parents, wrapped in warm furs. The hunters take turns standing watch, listening to the night sounds for any sign of danger. The watch system is carefully organized, with different people responsible for different parts of the night. The early watch belongs to those who went to bed first, allowing others to enjoy the evening's entertainment. The middle watch falls to the light sleepers, those who wake naturally in the deep hours. The dawn watch goes to the early risers, who will oversee the transition from night to day. The darkness beyond the fire is absolute, broken only by stars and the occasional flicker of lightning from a distant storm. This is night as it was meant to be experienced, without electric lights to hold back the primordial dark. In this blackness, every sound is amplified. The hoot of an owl, the rustle of something moving through underbrush, the distant howl of wolves calling to their pack. These night sounds don't frighten you as they might frighten modern people. They're part of your world, signals in the complex communication network of the forest. The owl's call tells you there are small prey animals active nearby. The wolf's song indicates the pack is hunting far enough away to pose no immediate threat. Your ears have learned to read the night as clearly as your eyes read the day. The stars overhead are brilliant in the unpolluted sky, their patterns as familiar to you as the features of a friend's face. These celestial markers tell you the time of night, the season of the year, the direction of travel when journeying to distant places. The movements of the moon govern hunting strategies and determine the best times for various activities. This is astronomy as a survival tool, star knowledge that keeps your people oriented in time and space. Sleep comes gradually, naturally, without the artificial aids of modern life. Your body is tired from the day's work, satisfied by the evening's meal, warmed by the fire and your clan's presence. There are no worries about tomorrow's schedule, no anxiety about distant obligations. Tomorrow will bring what it brings, and you'll face it as your people have always faced uncertainty, with skill, courage, and the support of your clan. Your dreams, when they come, are filled with the images of the day. Running deer, the weight of stone tools in your hands, the taste of fresh meat and honey, but also deeper images, symbols and spirits that speak to parts of your mind that rational thought cannot reach. In sleep, you commune with the forces that govern your world, the spirits of animals and storms and growing things that your waking self works to understand and appease. The dream world is as real to your people as the waking one, perhaps more so. In dreams, the spirits of animals speak directly to hunters, revealing where game can be found. The ghosts of ancestors offer advice about surviving harsh weather or finding medicinal plants. The landscape itself communicates, showing hidden water sources or warning of approaching danger. These nocturnal visions are taken seriously, discussed and interpreted, integrated into the clan's decision-making process. And so another day ends in the ancient world. A day measured not by clocks, but by the sun's journey across the sky. A day defined not by appointments, but by the eternal needs of food, shelter, and protection. A day lived in harmony with rhythms that modern humanity has forgotten, guided by wisdom that comes not from books, but from countless generations of experience. This is how your ancestors lived, not in comfort, but in understanding, not in safety, but in awareness, not in abundance, but in gratitude for what they had. They were part of something larger than themselves, woven into the fabric of the natural world in ways that we can barely imagine today. Their knowledge was comprehensive but specialized, each person contributing their particular skills to the group's survival. The tracker could read stories in disturbed earth that were invisible to others. The napper could see the tool hidden within a lump of stone. The gatherer knew the secret language of plants, understanding which ones healed and which ones harmed. Together, they formed a living library of survival knowledge, each mind holding pieces of information essential to the whole. The social bonds that held the clan together were as important as any tool or weapon. Trust between hunting partners could mean the difference between success and failure. Cooperation between the women who processed food determined whether the clan would eat well or go hungry. The respect shown to elders ensured that crucial knowledge would be passed to the next generation before it was lost forever. Tomorrow will begin as this day began, with the slow awakening to firelight and the eternal challenges of survival. But tonight, surrounded by your clan, warmed by flame and fellowship, fed by the day's success and comforted by ancient stories, you rest in the profound peace that comes from living in harmony with the world as it is, rather than fighting to make it something else. Sleep now, child of the ancient world. Dream of running streams and endless forests, of the weight of well-made tools and the warmth of shared fires. Dream of a time when humans were not the masters of nature, but its children, learning daily from the greatest teacher of all, the earth itself. In your dreams tonight, you'll run with the deer through moonlit meadows, your feet sure on the ancient paths. You'll sit by fires that have burned continuously for thousands of years, tended by generations of careful hands. You'll hear the voices of your ancestors, whispering wisdom in languages older than words, teaching you the secrets of survival that allowed your species to inherit the world. And when morning comes, you'll wake refreshed and ready to face another day in paradise. Not the paradise of ease and plenty, but the deeper paradise of living in perfect harmony with the natural world, of being exactly what evolution designed you to be, in exactly the environment where you belong. This is the gift of remembering, the blessing of understanding how we lived before we forgot how to live. In touching these ancient memories, we remember who we really are beneath all the layers of civilization. We are children of earth and fire, of stone and starlight. We are the descendants of survivors, inheritors of the greatest wisdom the world has ever known. Rest now in that knowledge. Dream those ancient dreams. And remember always that this blood, this wisdom, this profound connection to the living world still flows in your veins, still whispers in your heart, still calls you home to yourself.